I recently finished watching a playthrough of Sonic Dream Team. Now, for those who don't know what Sonic Dream Team is, I don't blame you. It was a mobile game put out by Sega Hardlight. Well, it was developed by Sega Hardlight, put out by Sega, and only on the Apple Arcade service. So it's an Apple device exclusive. You can only get it on Apple devices and the Apple TV, thingy extension. It's the only way you can play it, which sucks. It's another one of those exclusive things that makes you really not like exclusives, but whatever. It wouldn't have meant anything if Sonic Dream Team was just a basic mobile game that we have. The mobile games like Sonic Runners or Sonic Dash or Sonic Forces Speed Battle, whatever that they currently have, which are pretty much instant runners that you just kind of tap every now and then to do something. Nothing too crazy. You'll have something like Sonic Rumble, which, while that is going to be a pretty big thing, it's mainly like just a Fall Guys clone. So it's nothing too crazy, right? Nothing too out of this world. It's a mobile game, right? In the world of gaming, mobile games aren't really seen as that big until they become big, like Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail or stuff like that, where they've outgrown mobile, right? Then they've become bigger than that. That's not what usually the Sonic mobile games do. They're usually very much just mobile game. It's a mobile game, And that would have been fine with Dream Team if it wasn't for the fact that they actually put effort into Dream Team. For the first time in forever, they decided, hey, let's actually put an effort to this mobile game and not only make a very, very good video game, but we're gonna make it canon. Yes, Sonic Dream Team is canon. According to Ian Flynn, the video game takes place after Frontiers and is part of the lore. It is canon to the Sonic lore. So, okay, just because it's canon doesn't mean I have to play it. That's true. You don't have to play it. But again, they made a very good mobile game. So let's start off with the plot. The Dream Team plot is basically this. Eggman discovers what is called the Reverie. Now, the Reverie is an ancient device that is capable of making dreams reality. They make the dreams come true. So upon using this, he accidentally sucks Sonic and everyone into the dreamscape, Eggman's dreamscape. They are sucked into it, and they have to get these dream orbs, and you collect enough dream orbs, then a reverie called REM will be able to wake everyone up. Everyone is awake, and we're good, right? That's the basic plot of Dream Team. So it pretty much plays very much like I guess gameplay-wise, I should say, it's more open. It's very much, I think, what people wanted the cyberspace levels in Sonic Frontiers to be. Cyberspace levels in Sonic Frontiers were very much traditional Sonic levels, while you still had the open zone gameplay. These levels are levels, right? Like, they're Sonic levels, but they're much more adventure-esque, where you can do a lot more exploring in these levels than you can with, say, the levels in Generations or Colors or Forces. You have a lot more open area to explore. So the levels are very much more Sonic Adventure-esque levels, which is, I think, what people more wanted for what we got in Sonic Frontiers. So there's that. Now, there is the fact that each level has each act actually has... Each act has its own mini acts in it as well. It's really cool. There is different types of ways you can do the levels. So there is like the standard, just clear the level, right? Just beat the level, get the red rings, all that type of stuff, a classic Sonic level. But then there's one where it's like a time challenge, where you have to beat the level in a certain amount of time. There's a race one where you have to go through like these hoops, right? And you have a time, and your time keeps going up the more you go through the hoops. You have stuff like that. You have one where it's like just collect all the flying orbs that are around the level, stuff like that. It's very much a Mario aspect, and I think the best way someone put it is like it's very much like Mario Sunshine, where it's the same level, but you do it like 5 times, and each time is a different objective. You know, in Sunshine, one is, you know, you have to collect all the red coins. One is you have to get Shadow Mario. You know, it's different. It's the same level, but a different objective every time. That's very much how Dream Team operates. And not only that, but each level changes depending on who you use. What I mean by that is you can accomplish the level multiple different ways depending on who you use. So you have multiple playable characters. Of course, you start off with just Sonic at first, and you grow the roster as it goes on. So the full roster is Sonic, Amy, Tails, Knuckles, Rouge, and Cream. So we get Cream the Rabbit back for the first time in freaking forever. That's a pretty big deal. You know, people have been wanting Cream the Rabbit back. They feel like Sega has kind of forgotten her, and she came back, but you gotta have Apple to do that. And each character has their own abilities. Tails and Cream can fly. They are flight-based characters. You have Sonic and Amy, who are more speed characters, and you have Knuckles and Rouge, who can glide and climb on walls. So that's how they've kind of divided the character types there. Now, like I said, each character has a different route. The level is designed for those 3 types. So there is a route for the speed characters, there's a route for the flying characters, and there's a route for the gliding / wall climbing characters. There is a different route for each type of character, and that's a really cool idea because it changes up the experience for who you play as, and you can still play as whoever you want and still finish the level. You know, you're not restricted to playing as a certain someone. Now, sometimes they will restrict you to playing a certain someone, but that's more story purpose than anything. Speaking of the story, the bosses. The bosses at the launch of the game were pretty easy. There has been an update to fix that, so the bosses get a lot more harder. And the bosses, I have to say, they're pretty imaginative. You know, they're pretty good. You know, like most games, the first part starts off pretty easy, and then they get harder and harder as you go along. I would say, what would I say was the toughest boss? It would probably be the boss in, probably the Guardian Hunter, I would say. He looks like he is the toughest boss, which is a boss that you can really only play as Knuckle and Rouge. Like I said, in story purpose battles, or in story purpose stages, they do restrict you, so there is that, but it's not too much of a big thing, right? You can still beat the boss, but I would say his boss fight is probably the hardest. The final boss of the game is the Nightmare Eggman. It's not even really a boss. It's more or less you play as everyone through the stage, right? It'll switch you in between all the characters, and you just have to beat the level. You know, try not to die. That's pretty much the final boss. Before the final boss, hey, the music is slapping for that one. And let's get to the soundtrack. They went crazy for this soundtrack. The soundtrack is phenomenal. I know, shocker, the soundtrack for a Sonic game is awesome. But the soundtrack is really good in this game. I was shocked by how much, you know, the tunes are very catchy. They're very upbeat most of the time. And usually for like the 3rd or 4th act, they change the music, and it's like a lo-fi kind of chill mix version of it that you could just put on in the background while you're doing whatever. You're doing homework or something. This is the type of music that you could just put on like that to just chill, relax to, or like maybe even fall asleep to if you wanted. It's like really, really neat and really, really nice. I very much enjoy the soundtrack for this game. It is great. This is just a brief little thing about saying how good Sonic Dream Team is, how great this game is, and the fact that it is stuck on mobile, I think, is not the big issue here. It's a mobile game, yes, but I think the real issue here is that it's stuck behind Apple Arcade, and that's the off-putting thing. With so much, you can clearly tell there was effort put into this game. They cared about this game. And the people who have played it have said, I've heard nothing but good things about them. Like, oh, this is a great Sonic game. If this was put on consoles, this would sell gangbusters and everyone would be praising it. And from the gameplay I saw, I'd probably say the same thing because I was enjoying watching that gameplay video of it. But I'm sad as well because I'm like, I can't play it. Not everyone is going to play this, and not everyone's going to see this and go, oh, Sonic Dream Team is on Apple Arcade. I guess I'm going to go buy the Apple Arcade service. No, because most people don't like Apple products. And most people aren't going to just shill out money for a subscription service for one thing. You need to have multiple things. That's why you get a subscription service for. So it does suck that Sonic Dream Team is stuck behind the Apple Arcade service, and that is the big detractor why I don't think this game has gotten the love it deserves, and it really should. So what I guess I'm saying here, if you can't tell from the title of the video, is I think it is time to make Sonic Dream Team for everyone. Everyone should be allowed to play this game. I'm not saying put it on consoles. You don't have to do that. You can still keep this as a mobile game if you want. That's fine. We all have phones and tablets to do it with. Hell, you could even put it out on as a PC port, right? That's fine. I don't think anyone has a problem with where the game is. The problem is the accessibility for the game is the problem. Now, there is a thing that it's like, well, how can they when this is an Apple exclusive? Well, that is true, you know, but I mean, look at something like Sonic Colors. That was a Nintendo exclusive, Wii exclusive for the longest time, and they were able to find a way to put it on everything. So I'm hoping with time, if we just wait a bit and we make our voices heard that we want this game out there, that eventually Sega can get it so that way everyone can play Sonic Dream Team, because truly it is a fantastic game that I think needs more love and attention, and it can't get that love and attention with where it currently is.